Hello everybody, this is Veronica Cretu. Welcome on my YouTube channel. I am a digital creator and I develop content on personal development, personal growth, professional growth, and I also do inspire people to find themselves and leverage the internet and technologies in order to create the life they want. And I do invite people for interview, the people who I met in my life, who had an impact in my personal life and the other people's lives. So today my guest is again Veronica Cretu. Veronica is a lead governance expert at Innovating Governance Association Austria and Envoy, Open Government Partnership OGP, Independent Evaluator, and the Global Woman Aspirational Award winner in 2019. Hello, Veronica. How are you?
Hello, Veronica. Good, and thank you. And those titles are a bit scary, so I don't really pay too much attention to those. But thank you very much for having me again. And yes, let's hope that it will be a fruitful and insightful conversation.
Yes, last time you were talking about the implementation of AI at the governmental level in different countries and about your implication in this process. And today I would like to speak about a different level to people from different level, let's say the ones who are not involved politically, but they are very affected by this crisis we are going through. And I would like to ask you, what do you think, how much are we affected as, let's say, entrepreneurs or small business owners, or as professionals in different areas working in big companies who are facing job lost or redundance? And yeah, let's speak about that, because yeah, you are more into this.
Well, honestly speaking, I'm not that much into the business or economics in the first place, but of course, anything that's happening in the broader ecosystem does affect the way governments that I work with need to make decisions vis-a-vis, the critical sectors, and economy is definitely one of the most important ones. It goes without saying that we have been all affected already badly by the given crisis. And I do receive on a regular basis, and even this morning I woke up with a message in my messenger from some good friends who've been asking how long, like they were seeking my prognosis about how long we are going to be struggling with the crisis. I'm sure that everyone is reading a lot about, how long this would take. And there are different perspectives, there are different opinions. Some consider that the economic unlock and recovery of small owners, small and medium enterprises, as well as the bigger corporations, it will start gradually in a couple of months. Some believe that we will fully recover when there is a vaccine in place, and it will take roughly about 2 years to fully be back on speed with, in a way, our normal lives. So I think there will be several phases of the recovery. There will be some intermediary phases in which businesses will have to find intermediary solutions for their own activities and define ways they could migrate maybe to the online, to the digital mode of doing business. Others will still be combining. There will be a mixed, or let's say a hybrid approach, where you still, for example, produce something, but you need online tools to promote the stuff that you have. And then there will be people who will still keep being in a more traditional setup, if we talk about small bakeries, or if we talk about small, let's say, neighborhood production areas, handmaids or stuff like that, they will still keep doing their business in a traditional way. This is what we are witnessing currently. And bigger corporations, they will definitely go through a lot of re-engineering, let's put it this way, of their own processes. I think several will go through an analysis of how much their stuff is needed in a face-to-face mode in their corporations, how much work can be done remotely. I keep hearing people saying that I have never imagined that I could be so efficient working from home. There are opinions according to which people manage to do much more from home, remotely, than if they were in their own offices in those big organizations. And it indeed has affected everyone, from small family business, family-owned business, like 1 or 2 person business, to really huge corporations, consultancy companies, international organizations. And yes, as I said, several phases to recover, several tools and practices to be adopted. And I think everyone is really in a learning mode, because nobody has been through such an unprecedented, in a way, critical or crisis mode up until now.
I think not everybody has this clarity of the changes are happening about, that the companies are going to change their strategies, and a lot of jobs will be changed and innovated, and that requires a lot of reskilling of the people who are going to apply for those jobs. A lot of jobs will be cancelled, and again, we as professionals or small entrepreneurs, we are facing to maybe uncertainty. We don't know how to expect. What do you think we have to focus on now, because of all these changes are happening, in order to secure or get some confidence that we will go out and we will have more certainty after this crisis will be finished?
Well, I think a lot goes to where you physically are located. I think a lot depends on the country you are in, and depends a lot on the safety and security measures that are being put in place by the governments of those respective countries. So regardless, the reason I'm mentioning this is that regardless of what you may do as a professional, you may still be affected by the overall climate and ecosystem of the respective country you are physically based in. Because countries like Austria, for example, or Germany, or even Northern Ireland, UK, and I'm looking at Ireland specifically, the Nordic countries, they are putting in place really significant packages of support for professionals at different levels, even for freelancers or for small and medium enterprises. So this is number one. One needs to clearly look into what is provided by the government of the respective country, and how can you benefit from that support that you are really entitled to, because you are a taxpayer in that respective country. It is a crisis mode, and you are really, if you are eligible for any kind of support, go for it. Number two, I think it is very important to start thinking about the next phases, and in more specifically, what kind of skills you would need, what kind of activities you would like to be able to do in long run, because this critical situation is like a ringing bell. It does help us in a way, to some extent, to take a break and rethink and reanalyze what is that something that we are working on. And if God forbids something like this is going to hit again in a few years from now, Am I ready? Am I resilient enough from the perspective of the activities or business that I'm doing to be able to cope with a new critical situation? And what kind of skills do I need to gain? I think we do require more skills related to how to work online, how to engage remotely. But it doesn't mean automatically that you will have the kind of gains that you expect right away. We know that platformization has been one of the core elements of the digital economy in the past years. And we know about so many huge platforms, transactional platforms for different business sectors, like hotels like Airbnb, for example, or Uber or Amazon or eBay. So yes, while we may not necessarily dream about putting in place super sophisticated giant platforms like those ones, but we need to learn from how those platforms emerged and what is that something we could bring either to the existing platforms, or how do we build something smaller scale, but really targeted to the needs of the people we want to provide support to, or understanding who is our clientele, who is our main target audience. And once you clarify for yourself who is your main target audience, how to reach out to them, how to talk to them, what kind of platforms they use, what kind of needs they have, what kind of interests they have, all of those aspects, they need to help us to redesign our activities and provide what is really needed for, as I said, for our target audience. And this requires skills, new skills. And I think it is a good opportunity now to go through some online programs and courses and retrain ourselves. So that would be another important step. And probably one more is to talk to people who have already tried things. I think they are a really valuable source of what works and what doesn't. And if we know people in our environment who prior to the crisis were aiming at, I don't know, selling something through Amazon, or they were thinking about some products and prototyping something, we need to get out to them and ask them what happened to that small toy that they were aiming at selling through the online mode, what happened to that specific product, so that we really don't repeat the lessons of those who spent years and they capitalized a lot on those experiences. So instead of having the same bumpy experiences, go and talk to those who had them before the crisis. Because now, after the crisis, it's even going to be much more difficult. The competition will be high. There will be several people moving to the online mode. And how do you secure that portion of your target audience is a huge question mark. Again, you need to be unique. You need to be providing something that others don't. And this requires a lot of analysis. This requires looking and working with a lot of data about who is on the market, what is provided, how is it provided, what is unique, and what is that something that's still missing and I could fill in this gap? Or how do I do it differently? Even if we have the same service or the same product, but how mine is different. So these are the kind of questions we should be reflecting on these days as much as possible.
Yeah, totally agree. And what you just said, I go through this experience myself. Even before crisis, I had the need to change my lifestyle and start creating something that is more fulfilling and that brings meaning and value. So I discovered an educational platform which thousands of people can benefit of this platform, and it gives you a lot of tools and right education, how to first of all, it is about personal growth, because without that you cannot succeed anyway. And it is an amazing community with huge support, and the quality of the training is at an international level. So people who are interested may check the links, and they can reach to that platform as well. And also, I would like to mention that when we are thinking to create a product or our service, we have to think about how do we market this product. So it requires a lot of marketing skills. So we have to consider how to approach this aspect as well. So I would like to mention that affiliate marketing is something that can help and build trust, as you say, to spread the word about your product, about your service. So, for example, I myself consume a lot of digital products, and I trust them because I can see value, and these products may make my life easier or change my life in a certain degree. And when I speak about that, I do kind of marketing, and people will trust me, and they can buy the same product. So this is a shift in the, I could say, on the marketplace, when you are not focusing on just creating ads and pushing them in front of the people, but making this connection and talking to people about something that brings you value in your personal life. You can impact other people. So this kind of connection is something impressive for me, and I feel it works. What do you think about this, Veronica?
Yes, I think it is really important that whatever we promote, we have used that something ourselves. Because indeed it's something that becomes more trustworthy, and not only that you can say how was this specific experience for you, it's also going into the details of that. What can it give you on a professional level or personal level? And in my network, I have people who are sort of influencers, and when they do promote things or stuff, I don't know, it can be clothing for kids or shoes for toddlers, or some specific, I don't know, vegan products. I trust them because, they have an image, they have a reputation of an influencer, of an important person, and that as long as the values and aspirations of that person is something I also share, then it's much more likely that I would go for those products and those services. So I think the world we live in makes us affiliate or resonate with certain personalities or individuals, and then we tend to copy, or we tend to follow their habits, or follow their preferences, again because as individuals they resonate with us, or we resonate with them. And I think this is something normal. This is the human nature. So the more we share, the more we talk about what works for us, what doesn't work, we may be helping others make quicker and more rapid decisions. Not necessarily they will be good, because there will still be a certain share of experiences which may be positive for us but negative for others. So we really need to be careful about how we learn about a certain product and how we share. We go into very specific aspects, but at the same time we say, this is good for us, and why it is good for me personally, because I share this value now, because I'm at this stage in my life. So you provide a precondition or a context when we share about something, because something that works for me may not work for someone else, due to the age, due to the location, due to the preferences. So there is a lot to take into account when to consider when we also market not only our own stuff, our own products, but things that have been promoted by others. So there is a certain degree of carefulness that we have to have in place.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree and resonate with that. Veronica, I was thinking about people who are still confused and they don't know how to start to make this shift towards digital world, virtual space. How do you think, what could be the challenges of these people? Maybe they understand, yes, I have to reskill myself, I have to consider using more technologies. What could be their challenges? And how maybe can you give some guidance to these people?
Well, I think not everything has to necessarily go digital, number one. So the first question that we should be asking ourselves as individuals is whether whatever I'm doing can be replicated or can have an online dimension. So this is the first thing, because you may well keep growing your grapes, producing your wine, and selling it in a small community where you live, or in your small family-owned restaurant, like I'm seeing several here across Austria, for example. So keep doing that, because there might be situations that there could be other people in your network who like your product, and they will promote it much better than you would do it if you build specific, specially designated platforms for promoting your own goods. So sometimes it's paradoxical that if you have the right people in your network who are really, as I said, who are influencers, who are really good promoters, once you provided a good service and something of good quality, they will pick on it. They will do it for free, without even being asked. We see people, around the world through our networks that promote stuff, and nobody asks them to do that. But if you have the right, the right people in your audience, in your entourage, you have all the chances to get something promoted. So number one, think about what you already have. What are you doing, and whether that's something that you do deserves an online component or not. Look at the people that you have around in your network, in your online network, and in your physical network. I think this is important, that we reflect on who are the people we deal with, and only after these two steps, define what are the areas that you need to improve. Like if you decided that you need to have an online component, what kind of skills you need in order to make that something work? Is it about promoting? Is it about maybe creating more visually friendly, visually attractive logos or images of the products or services that you deliver? So it very much goes into having a clear analysis from the very beginning. Don't overjump. I think I've seen, and this is actually something that happened to me some years ago when we were aiming at selling wooden toys back in Moldova. We had a showroom, a mini showroom in our capital city. And we were assuming that if we have a showroom and if we have those wooden toys, people will just come and buy them. No, because this is just one side of the story. You need to learn and train yourself how to promote those, how to create video tutorials, so the online dimension is not only about marketing in the simplistic way of marketing, is creating content on how to use your stuff, how not to use your stuff, what is it good at. And this requires a lot of investment in terms of time, dedication, learning. So I think my first advice, understand what you want and understand what you already have, and what do you still miss so that you bring it to a different level. And of course, keep learning and learning from, as I said earlier, keep learning from those who tried similar things before. so that you don't repeat the mistakes and you build on the lessons, and you don't waste time, because now you don't have time to make as many mistakes as others did before you. So use this opportunity and talk to those people who could potentially become your mentors, who could support you, who could maybe who gave up on their ideas, but they are still enthusiastic and passionate about the same idea that you want to put in place, and they would be willing to contribute their time. So there is a lot that we need to do, but start from a deep analysis of everything that you could map, everything that you could document before you jump into investing your time and money in immediately selling something or immediately prototyping something.
Yeah, and I also have experience in the past when my ex-husband is an artist in Moldova, and I tried to promote him online, and I built a couple of websites for him and for his friend, and I even incorporated e-commerce element. And it didn't bring us income because I didn't have marketing skills. It was like a virtual place, a shop somewhere in the desert, and nobody enters there or visits. And yeah, I knew we have to make more presence online. I mean, making videos on YouTube on how do they create those art works, and how do they discuss about their inspiration, their process. And it's something that we get engaged with the audience, with potential customers. They get to know us closer. We build trust and create our image. And this way we can promote and have a different approach to marketing and selling. So yes, it's a process which we have to go through and learn. It's not the old traditional way when you go out in the street or in a gallery and people come and just pick up a picture or painting and go home.
Because people want a story behind. I think we have to keep in mind that it's not always the product itself or the painting itself. To some extent, it's rather the story behind. For example, if I buy a painting, I'm always wondering about the author. Where did he or she live? Where did he or she create this painting? When was it done? What was the ambiance in which it was created? So we have those questions. And I think the opportunities that the online space provide is to tell your audience that story. We have all the means to say this, to share the story, because you can have a video tutorial. You can, as you say, you can put the author face to face with the audience and share about how that something got inspired and got created, as opposed to just going to an arts gallery and you have the painting and you buy it. I think we are all keen on not only buying the object, but getting the story behind. Because when I have friends coming and visiting us at home, and we have several paintings and art objects, we tell the story of those. And this is what is of most interest. So exactly as you said, when we think about the online medium, we need to understand that marketing doesn't work in the traditional sense of marketing. It's not just the object and the price, the course and the price. It's who took the course before, who was your top, a famous personality that emerged out of your course. What happened with their lives, how impactful it has been. So we do have the opportunity to provide much more insights and much more details. And this is where we need to put our thinking into, not specifically learning only about how to calculate the costs of the product, how to sell those, is it through PayPal or other e-banking systems, but it's also the story, which is why it's difficult to manage one single initiative only by yourself. And you need to engage several people and attract several people One way to do it, you can attract volunteers. If it is about arts, you can provide an opportunity for someone who is a student in someone who studies arts to gain some work experience by providing volunteer service to you now, but he or she would gain this extremely precious experience working with you. I don't know, designing a logo or designing a visual image for your product or your service. Someone would be good at telling the story and creating the tutorials and video recording. Someone who wants to become a film maker one day, you could attract in providing him or her the opportunity to make videos for you. So we have to go beyond our classical way, in a way of thinking about things that we want to do. We really need to be as creative and out of box thinkers when we want to put in place something, as I said, which is unique, which is different, and taking into consideration that there are thousands out there on the market in the online world today. How do we become unique? How do we become different? Think out of box, and this includes integrating and bringing lots of minds into the play. You shouldn't be doing it all by yourself, because at some point you get stuck, you don't have creative ideas, you get locked in your own thinking and your own stereotypes and your own approaches. But when your mind is shaken by and challenged positively by people, a couple of people that work with you, then chances that you produce something more unique, more interesting are much higher. So that's another piece of advice that I would or recommendation I would give to people in your network and in my network, should they be interested to put something interesting in place.
Yeah. And when you know you have certain skills, or maybe you have a passion for example, editing videos, you can learn that on digital platforms, which are plenty of them, and just provide your service as a freelancer on freelance platforms. And also, what impressed me is that there are, let's say, more poor economically countries from Asia, for example, where you can outsource on a very low price the services which can take away the overwhelm of creating your own product. So this way we help and maintain each other's existence, if you like to say that this way. And it's a huge impact on a global scale, because I get in contact with people from different countries. We need their support, they need our support, and it's something that brings more meaning and fulfillment, I guess, because you get integrated at a global scale in a certain degree. And yeah, so maybe somebody will consider to put their skills and make a value for them and for other people as well, and learn new skills, because especially young people who we talked about that in our previous discussion, we, especially in Moldova, we are going through school education just to give the final exam, and young people are just confused and disorientated. What are they going to do in life for their to maintain their life? And now with internet opportunities, they have unlimited possibilities and do what they truly love to do. And Veronica, I know you have a lot of experience by training other people and organizations in different countries. And I wanted to ask you about the way of learning. Is it possible, or what is the difference between learning yourself, being autodidact, and having a mentor now in these conditions?
Well, it depends. I think depends on what we learn, and depends on what stage in life we are. stage meaning our age, stage meaning our professional aspirations. What is that something that we want to gain professionally? Because definitely learning is happening through a variety of means. Yes, we can learn from reading books. We can learn from attending courses and taking courses and passing certain certification procedures and become, certified in this or that field. And definitely we can learn from other people in anything. In business, we just talked a bit about the online mode and the fact that there is so much to learn from people who have tried, from people who have experiences. Similarly, in any learning process, any skill that we want to build or any area of specialization that we want to develop, it is critical that we interact with someone who has achieved a certain level of professional recognition in a certain field. Or if we don't have physical means to do that, like, your hero, your superstar is someone unachievable for us because we are miles away, because these are super important people, like Oprah Winfrey is one of my mentors, or I follow closely Bill Gates, or I have a really, really good friend who's a former U.S. ambassador to Moldova, and we've been in touch for years, for many years now, and whom I regularly consult on certain matters or certain issues, and she's been really, really helpful. And so sometimes we can pick people whom we follow, as I said, remotely, distantly, because they are so big and so inspirational, and there are so many other people learning from them. So we can follow those, and we can consider that they are our, in a way, spiritual professional mentors. And if we have the possibility to pick someone, either it's a former teacher at the university or a former lecturer, or as I said, someone in our entourage, get back to those people and ask them and learn from them as much as possible. And I think for one important element when it comes to mentorship, we cannot have only one mentor. We should have several mentors. Some we follow and we learn from because they give us something on a particular area, how to speak in front of big crowds, how to position themselves as global influencers, and we learn from those. From some, we learn how to be empathetic and how to be humble and resilient in critical times. So you follow those. So there are certain sets of skills and values that we would find in different people, which is why we need to broaden the network of people we interact with on a regular basis, and names of people we follow also on a regular basis, but we know about them, they don't know about us, but it's still so important to follow them and to learn from them. I myself, I had the opportunity to be a mentor myself for several years now to several women, female professionals from different countries on different areas. And I find myself that experience really rewarding, because it's not that only they've been learning from me. I was learning from them as much as they did. So it was a very inspiring and reciprocally, mutually beneficial process. And some of them, when I get messages from them, they write, "Hey, my mentor, what is my mentor doing?" This is so funny, because officially, formally, we are no longer engaged in a particular project, as part of which I was assigned that role, but we kept that kind of mentor-mentee relationship throughout the years. And it's funny. I mean, it's really inspiring and interesting. So yes, the more we broaden base of people we engage with, the better for us. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid if you attend a conference, you attend an event. Go and talk to people you admire. Go and talk to people who share the same visions and values as you do. Don't be afraid to send a follow-up message. Don't be afraid to get in touch with someone. Don't be afraid to send an email to someone. Dare and ask and reach out. Some will respond, some will not, but it shouldn't give us, it should not make us disappoint. It should not disappoint us because, as I said, some people are really busy. So from this regards, it is important to have mentors, and it is as important as to keep learning yourself and self-instructing, and self-discipline is critical for getting higher performance and getting better results. All elements are really important. There is no one that would be more important than other. And together they come to help us consolidate our knowledge, our skills, and take us to a new level.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. From my experience, I had many mentors and coaches, and Nico was one of them. And he taught me how to build your image regionally. And because we were developing that project at a local level, helping people to create their startups and apply for funds, for grants, I used to learn myself from Nico, how do I show up in the relationship I create with the people who I meet in my life. And I always try to express my recognition and gratitude to the work they've done for me. And when you do this, it's something interesting that you build that network, and you make those connections more strength, and in the future that brings you a lot of opportunities back, because if you just receive, let's say online, yes, you consume somebody's products and you even don't like or don't comment or don't share, and you don't get engaged, but you feel you get a lot of value and don't give back anything. It's something that is out of balance. Even people when like, share or comment or say, thank you, your message changed my life in a certain degree. That's huge. And this way we get into kind of balance and equilibrium, if you would like.
I think one of the things I've been doing for years, and I think I'm really good at, I keep in touch with people. I keep in touch with people. I send them updates about my life, about what's happening, what's new. I never miss a chance to say happy birthday on their birthday occasion, to remind about something, to send a nice photo of a nice place, or and I think it is something that many of us miss doing. We take it for granted. We believe that if we met someone and someone has helped us, I observed that many people have this kind of sporadic attitude towards the event. It was like a one lifetime event. For me, it is precious to build this relationship and to keep these relationships for years. I have people I'm in touch with for the past 25 years, past 20 years. 18 years, 15 years, so ever since I got to meet them. So I think it is crucial, incremental, that we, those people we cherish, those people we care about, those people who influenced our lives, keep in touch with them. Keep in touch with them and let them know what's happening in your life, because they also feel empowered. They will keep supporting not only you, but others. And you just never know when you will need them again, because in a different stage in life, they could play even a greater role, much greater role than they once played. So yes, keeping in touch with people and making sure they hear from you at least once a year is really, really important. Never lose touch with those who are valuable human beings. That's key for me. This is how it works for me.
Yeah, and I think it is one of the keys of the success.
Maybe because my daughters, they have this joke about is there any country in the world where you don't know anyone? Yeah, there are definitely countries in the world where I have not met anyone, and I have not engaged with anyone. But it's also an indication that you can today, in a globalized world, you can learn from people living in such different places, coming from exciting backgrounds, historically, culturally speaking, and there is an opportunity, an enormous opportunity, to take advantage of this world that we live in today and learn from people. I think that's a fascinating experience. This is something extremely amazing. Get out, even if it's online. Get out, reach out to people, learn, knock on their virtual doors, introduce yourself, say what you do, what is that something you'd like to test, share, learn about. And this is how it works. This is not by not keeping in your small boxes. Break the walls, break the boxes, make sure you never have a box. It's an open space that provides you, because this is something that allows you to see the opportunities, that allows you to spot people that you want to be affiliated with, to resonate with. So that's at least this is something that works for me. I'm more a people's person. I care about people. I can't live without talking and communicating with people on a regular basis, on a day-by-day basis. There would be 1 hour that I spent talking to friends and people, and not necessarily really close friends. Professionally speaking, people could reach out, ask for support or advice on one thing or another. And I'm always happy. I say, yes, of course. Let's see what you have. Let's see what can I share, or how can I contribute to it. On the contrary, I'm the one reaching out and asking for, having certain questions. And this is how it helps. This is how it reinforces you. Because the more you are in touch with people, the more you get back. The more you give and the more you get back when you need it. And it can be an idea, it can be a sentence. And that something is crucial in a certain critical moment. So love people and cherish people.
Yeah, thank you. I like what you just said. And it's, the people who will get that, they will and will apply in their lives. So they will see a tremendous change in the progress they are doing. Yeah, thank you. It was an amazing discussion, Veronica. What would be your final words towards the people who are thinking to make this transition towards digital economy?
I think read as much as possible about what digital economy is. Go through professional papers and reports, and look at global organizations, what they have written about digital economy in the past years. There are some interesting reports out there, the last one being from 2019. Really, I could share with you the link to that. It's really interesting. In addition to reading and understanding the philosophy of the digital economy, go back to the roots of the traditional economy, because it differs from a certain region of the globe to other region, and it is important to understand how you make this, how transition to global digital economy happens today. Number two, look at the different platforms. Look at what platforms are out there already, as mentioned. Look at people, reach out to people, and just dare. Don't be afraid. I mean, dare to try, dare to ask, dare to fail. because by failing, this will be the most precious experience. But don't fail too much and too hard. As I said, there were so many other people who failed before, and there is a whole wealth of information and knowledge, and get as much from that information and from those experience for you. And yeah, keep optimistic, be optimistic, and enjoy what's happening. Don't let yourself dragged by so much negative information that is out there today. Quantify the amount of time you spend on reading stuff for your professional life, and then what is happening in terms of statistics on the virus and the spread and so on. And the more you broaden, so this is much for the virus, and this is as much as you need to dedicate to your professional growth. And if you keep that proportions, everything's gonna be fine.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Veronica. And
you're welcome. And thank you for the invitation.
Yes. And I will put the links in the descriptions below. And again, you can reach to Veronica, you can reach to me, and leave comments, share, like, get engaged, ask questions. And we are here for you to support and share with you our experience. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.